morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
How are you all?
Fine.
Better.
Better? Why better? What happened?
Ma'am, just ma'am enjoying home also and school also at the same time.
Oh, double faida.
Yes, ma'am.
But how are you writing in your notebook? How do you maintain a notebook?
Ma'am, just writing everything in one notebook only.
Okay, because you don't have notebook and you have not got textbook also.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see what we can do about it, because these notebooks will be very helpful in class 10 also. Let me tell you, regarding computer subject 9th and 10th syllabus is combined syllabus. So half the I will and other half will be taught in next week. So the notebook is so important that you will have to keep your notebook with you as a record. Okay, because these things that I have started teaching, this abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance that I'm going to teach you today, it is asked almost every year in a 10th board paper, at least for 2 mark. One question at least will be asked. So it is that important. Okay. So let's see how many participants. Only 14. I don't know why they are so late already. This past 10. Okay. Let's see. After this lesson is over, today I think I'll be able to finish the lesson. After that, I'll send you some homework which you will have to write in your notebook. If you have one notebook, it is not a problem. You write and you keep the things with you. So how will you get the answer? The answer I have already explained. From there you will get, and I have sent you the PDF also. So you can refer the PDF also. One thing that I want to tell you is, whatever I am teaching you, I put it on my website also. The website address I'm writing in the chat window. It is javaforschool.com. I don't know if I have told you about this website or not. So one thing is, you can refer the write-ups on this website. Okay, you will not be able, there are more than 100 write-ups, but you will only understand few because you have just started studying. So you can go to this website one. Next is, I have made my channel on YouTube. So the name of the channel is Java by Trishna. So this also you can refer. Okay, on this you will get the videos of the recordings that I have taught you. Till now, I think I have conducted 3 classes. So out of 2 or 3, you will get prepared. Another thing is, if you have any doubt, you can send an email to me. This is the email. This is my email ID. So you can send your email on this email ID if you have a doubt. You think that I don't want to ask the doubt, or weekly, only once we meet, so I have a doubt what to do. You send me email. So you have 3 ways to connect with me. One is my website, one is my own channel on YouTube, and one is my email ID. So never feel that I don't have any contact number, so how will I ask madam, I have a doubt on YouTube. You can ask me, and you can use all these 3 ways to get connected. Okay, so now I think I should start. Tell me last topic, whatever I have taught you. What is that last topic? Nobody remembers? Yes, Aaron.
Ma'am, we studied about the languages. After that, we studied about Java.
Okay. Generations of languages are over. OOP and POP also, I think I have taught you. Yes or no? What is the difference between OOP and POP? My God, nobody knows.
Ma'am, one is POP is the procedure-based programming paradigm, while OOP is object-based. Ma'am, means in POP we need a procedure and the data and the instruction are separate. Ma'am, but in OOP the methods or like instruction and data are both
Yes. So I have taught you the difference between POP and OOP. There are a lot of problems with POP. That's why people started using OOP. Okay, I have taught you this. You cannot forget it so quickly. You cannot just brush it off your mind. You have to make a note. Okay, so let me share the screen, and now what I'm going to teach you. Let me share the screen. First, I'll put you on mute. If you have any problem, you write in the chat area or you can raise hand. You will not be able to speak on your own. Okay, so I'm sharing the screen. Okay, so here we have the. Okay, so basic concepts of OOPS. What is OOPS? It is the principle to design a program. It is a paradigm. Basically, there are two paradigms. You can use OOP, you can use POP also. In POP, procedures are only important, data is ignored. In OOP, data and procedure both are important. One is top-down approach, one is bottom-up approach. Let us see the basic elements of object-oriented programming is the data. Which languages follow OOP? So C++, C Sharp, Java, Smalltalk, Perl, and Python. The good thing is you will study only one programming language, that is Java. Okay, what is POP? We divide the big problem into small problems, and then we find the solution of the smaller problems. Eventually, we reach a stage where we cannot divide the problem into smaller problems. So then we just find the solution, connect the whole solution and make a solution of the program. So here we are moving from top to down. We are starting from top, we are going to down. That's why it is called top down approach. Okay, now what is OOP? Here we depend on the object. That's why it is called object oriented programming. Now this is bottom up technique. Why it is bottom up technique? Because we start from the object. Then we understand that what are the problems related this objects do we have, and then we solve all these problems with the help of procedure. So here data and procedure both are important. What is class and what is object, that we will see today. Okay. Now here this is the difference between POP and OOP. Here programs are divided into functions. Function is the synonym of procedure. They are not different, they are same. Here programs are divided into objects. Here data is hidden, can be accessed. Data is not hidden, it can be accessed by function. Here data is hidden. So here data is safe. Here data is safe. Just a minute. Okay, so here data is hidden and cannot be accessed by external functions. This is top down, this is bottom up. Okay, now here data can communicate with each other through functions. Now here objects can communicate with each other with their functions. Here emphasis is given on procedure, here emphasis is on data rather than procedures. Okay, now these are the basic differences. I will send you this PPT also. I don't know how you have received the first PPT or not. I will send both to you. Okay, so then you can go through these points again. Okay, now what we are going to study is we are going to study the basic concepts of OOPS. What are the basic concepts of OOPS? First is object, then comes class, then comes abstraction. Okay, is this You can see this PPT or not? Raise hand. I can see Hashvi here. So raise hand. Rishi Patel is, yes, yes. Okay. Hashvi, one instruction for you. I have realized that last 10 minutes you are never present. You have any problem, you will have to tell us. Otherwise, we are going to report it. Okay. Whoever is absent, I have the attendance sheet with me. I mark the attendance every day. If you are leaving in last 10 minutes, you will not be considered as present. You have problem, you have to tell that, okay, this is the problem that I'm facing. Okay, don't remain absent without reason. Okay, just because we are teaching you from home, that doesn't mean that this is not regular teaching. Please understand this. Okay, so now the following are the major characteristics of OOP. One is object, one is class, then data abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. We are going to study all these, 6 concepts here. Before that, what I feel is that you have not uh, we have not discussed the last point of the presentation that I made last time. So I will open that presentation. Just be a little patient. I'll open it. Okay. I'll stop sharing. I'll again start sharing. Okay. So I'm sharing this PPT with you. First was POP, OOP. We have started from here. I will put it on full screen. Okay, paradigms are two, POP, OOP. Did I show you this PPT last time? Raise hand. Aaron can raise hand. I can see Aaron. I can see Devanshi. Yes or no? Okay, raised hand. Yes. Okay. Then comes what is paradigm, what is POP, guideline for POP, characteristic of POP, and limitation of POP. Now this whole thing we have repeated for OOP. What is OOP? So car is an object. Car is an object of which class? Car is an object of vehicle class. Yes. Now we have OOP. Then we have the characteristics of OOP. Bottom up approach. Yes. Better control over data. Reusability. What is reusability? I told you that when you can reuse the code that you have written once, that is called reusability. It models real world entity. What is real world entity? The objects that we can see in real world are real world entities. Okay, good for solving complex programs. If you have a complex program, POP will not be enough for solving complex programs, so you need OOP concepts. Now there is some limitation. What are the limitations? Size of program is large. It needs pre-work and planning. It needs a lot of planning for writing a OOP program. Difficult to understand. Because it is complex, it will be difficult to understand if you will not pay attention. Consumes large amount of memory. Because it is huge, it will consume large amount of memory. Now what we are going to discuss? We are going to discuss what is a class. Okay, so the last slide was of class. What is a class? Let us understand. A class can be thought of as a template. If I tell you in very easy words, class is like a blueprint or a template from which we will make objects. Okay, so if you want to better understand this concept, what you can imagine is, suppose you want to build a house. Okay, all of us either purchase a house or build our own houses. So not you, but your parents, if they want to build a house, what do? They purchase some land, and then first thing, they will not go and ask the contractor to just start building the house. What do? They plan, they make a map of the house. Now what is the map of the house? The map of the house is that how the house will look like. When the house will be ready, how it will look like, where will be the hall, where will be the kitchen, how many washrooms will be there, from where you will enter, where will be the gate of the house, where will be the garden if there is a garden. So it will tell you everything about the house in advance. But if you think, do you think that you can go and stay in that map, on that map? Can you use the map for residing in it? Is it possible? If you understand it, no, it is not possible. Why? हम लोग मैप पे जाके क्यों नहीं रह सकते? Why do we need a house? Because map is just an outline. Map is not an actual house. It is an entity which will tell us how the house will look like after we make the house, after we build it. So here, if you understand, the map is a class, and from one map, how many houses can we build? We can make any number of houses, but they all will look same. If you realize, all these houses will look same because the map has defined the house. अगर मैप में एंट्री हो रही है ईस्ट डायरेक्शन से, then all the houses will have the entry in east direction only. Why? Because it has been defined in the map. So what is map? Map is your template. Your template of how the object of this class will look like. So if you understand your map is class, the houses that you will make, you make one house, two houses, or if it is a big society, you can make 100 houses from same map. So all the houses are objects. So how the object will look like, from where you will come to know that how the object of this map will look like? From the map. So your map is a template or a blueprint. Okay, somewhere they define the class as a collection of objects. From one class we can make so many objects, so we call it a collection of objects. Okay, so this is a real life example. It will be very helpful for you to understand what is class and what is object. Okay, now all object, an object belonging to a particular class is called an instance of that class. Okay, it is an entity, it is an instance of that class. You cannot use the template, but you can use the instance of that template. Okay, it is used to describe a group of objects that have common attributes. What is this common attribute? Common attribute means what? Common attribute means if there is one bedroom in the map, then all the houses will have one bedroom only. If there is no swimming pool in the map, then no house will have a swimming pool. Why? Because it is not defined in the map. So all the houses are same. Why are they same? Because they have been defined, or they have been, and they are instance of the same class. Like all the humans, you all are humans, I am also human. So if we have defined that in human class there will be two eyes, we all have two eyes. Have you seen a human which will have 3, 4 or 5 eyes? No. Why? Because in the human class it is defined that every human will have two eyes, one nose. Have you seen a human with 2 noses, 3 noses, or 4, 5 nose on the face? No. So why do all humans look like same? Because they are objects of same class. Which class is it? It is human class. Okay, so please understand, we cannot use class in real life. We have to make an object of the class. We call it instance of the class, and then we can use the instance in real life. Okay, it is used to describe a group of objects that have common attributes and behavior. Now, what is common attribute? One human, if it has eyes, means all the humans will have eyes. One house, if it has a playground or a garden or a swimming pool, then all the houses that are made from that map will have that same thing. So here you can understand that lion, the spelling is wrong. Lion, giraffe and cow can be grouped into a class called animal, because they all are animals. So they all will have common features in them. Okay, they all will have two eyes, all will have four legs, they all will have one tail. Okay, and all those common things that we should have in the you know uh, animals, you will get it in all the animals. So here I will stop this share. Any doubts if you have, you can ask. Okay, let me ask you if you have any doubts. What is class?
પપ્પા આ ભણો છો
I'm not able to
Ma'am, I
understand.
was having a doubt.
Yes, Manthan, ask.
I was having doubt, ma'am, that while ma'am we are making the class and ma'am compiling the program, ma'am, when I was compiling, ma'am, a error is
Wait, Manthan. I'm not able to listen to you, so I will mute others. Then you unmute yourself and you can speak. Because somewhere the TV is on, I can clearly hear. You can unmute yourself. It is an thing. Unmute yourself. Yeah, speak.
ma'am, that while I was compiling my class, while I was compiling my program after making the class, ma'am, I was not able to compile, ma'am. There was an error coming that your parent file directory is not writable, ma'am. But when I checked my directory, it was writable.
Okay, so where are you compiling your class? Which software are you using?
Ma'am, Java only.
Java, but which
BlueJ.
software? Java has a lot of IDEs. Okay, IDE is integrated
Ma'am, BlueJ.
environment. Okay, BlueJ you are using. Don't worry, I will teach you how to use BlueJ, but for that we need a little time. See, this is a wrong kind of order that you are following, Manthan. I'm not saying you are wrong, but without learning the theory basics, how can I jump to the class? Tell me, how can I make the class? You think that I cannot teach you on the very first day write a 100-line Java program? But then you will not know the basic only. This is like without knowing what is clutch and gear, you started driving the car.
Yes.
Okay, so first thing is we will understand what is class and why do we need a class. Making a class is a matter of 1 minute for me. I can teach you right now. Okay, but that is not important. It should be in order. That's why what we have discussed, that sequence matters. So don't worry, the moment I will feel that I should teach you how to make a class in BlueJ, I will teach you, and it will take me only one class for making the one meeting for making a class, compiling, and you will not get any error. Okay, so don't worry, for the time being.
Okay.
Yes.
You concentrate on theory. The day we will jump into programming, you will get a lot of programs, so don't worry. Okay,
Yes.
and for that also you can refer my website. I have not made any post of how to make a class in Java. I have all covered only theoretical topics and then programs. There are many programs, but this basic I will try to cover it, if you feel that you need it now. Don't worry.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
any doubts in this? What is class? No one?
No, ma'am.
Then I will start with object and abstraction and all those basic concepts. Okay, I will put you on mute, Manthan, because otherwise you will also speak. Okay, so I'm sharing the screen. Now let me tell you that there are 4 concepts of OOP. 2 are class, object, and then 4. So total 6 concepts. What are these concepts? Now you will be able to relate. Okay, basic concepts of Java. They are here. Okay, first is object, then class, then abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. This overloading and dynamic binding, message passing we will discuss later. First, let us understand what is an object. I have already told you class and object, the definitions are connected to each other because from class you make an object. Okay, so what is an object? Object is a building block of Java program. Suppose you want to build a house. See, today we are almost discussing all the examples regarding the house. It is just a coincidence. If I want to build a house, what will be the basic building block of The house. The basic building block of the house is brick. Okay, without brick, we cannot make a house. So what is the basic building block of our Java programs? Our Java programs building block is an object. So understand that the brick is important for our house, the very same way object is important for our program. Okay, now in an object you will have two things. One is data members and the other is member functions. Okay, what is data member? What is member function? Suppose take an example of student class. Here they have given an object student, you can see. So what are the physical features of a student class? Pray, raise hand. What happened to Pray? You can unmute yourself and speak, Pray. I have kept you on mute, but you can unmute yourself. So an object.
By mistake.
Okay. So an object has data member and functions. So a student will have what data members? What are the physical features or the characteristic of a student? Each and every student will have a name. Have you seen any student without name? No. Father's name, mother's name, address, city, class. Every student belongs to some class. Class means standard here. Okay, then age, birth date. You all will have your percentage. So all these are the characteristics of the student object. Then what is behavior? What do the student do? That is the behavior. So a student will study. You come to school for studying. You play also. You eat. In the school you eat also. You give exam and you get result. So all these things are your behavior, what the student will do. That is the member functions or behavior of the student class. So in each object, there will be some data members, which are the physical features or the characteristics of the class, and some functions that will tell you that how the object of this class will behave. Please understand that in student class there is study function, but in an animal class, can we have a study function? Do animals study? No, they don't. Okay, so student class will look very different from animal class. And from the data members and member functions only you will understand that which class this is, because they will define the data members and the functionality in that way. Okay, now each object is identified by a unique name. You will have to give a name to that object. Suppose, just imagine that human is a class. We have a class human. You all belong to human class? Yes or no? Don't tell me you are a furniture. You all, even I belong to human class. So how do we identify each other? How do I know that this boy is Aaron and this boy is Garv and this girl is Tirtha? How do I know? We will give a name to the object to identify each object. And from one class, we will make any number of objects. Now here they have given example of apple, orange, mango are the objects of class fruit. Okay, so they all will have some basic common, features. They will have a data member called taste. Some fruits are sweet in taste, some are sour, some are, bitter. Yes. So, do you think that taste data member will be there in human object, human class? Just imagine. Do we taste? Do we have taste? No, we do not have. Okay, so that's why the fruit class will look different than the human class. In human class, there will be a functionality called breathe or eat. In fruit class, we will not have a functionality called breathe or eat. Okay, so that is class and that is object for you. Now let us see what is next. Next is the 4 features of your concepts. Last 10 minutes for us, not to worry. Okay, so what are the concepts that we are we are going to discuss now is first is data abstraction. What is data abstraction? Okay, data abstraction refers to the process of, wait a minute. Okay, data abstraction refers to the process of representing essential features without including background details or explanations. Now, let us understand what does this mean? What are we trying to say here? Okay, we are trying to say that whenever we make a program which will have the oops concept in background, means whenever we will make a Java program, it will follow data abstraction. What is data abstraction? If you take a real life example of data abstraction, I can give you a lot of examples. Suppose you are driving a car. You don't drive a car because of your age. I hope you don't drive. But when your parents are driving the car, when they want to stop the car, what do? They just press the brake. Okay, now brake button or brake lever, we should say, when they press it, what happens? The car will stop. But have you ever think that what is the procedure for that? What happens when actually you press that brake, lever or whatever it is? What happens? Some wire is pulled, some lever is pulled, and then there is something else that will happen, and eventually your car will stop. You don't know that. You don't even want to know it. Why? Because we are only concerned with what should happen if I do this. We only want that whenever I press this brake, my car should stop. Second very relevant example, if I want to give, it will be of pizza. You all love pizza, right? Very frequently you go to the Pizza Hut and Domino's and all the shops or cafes which serve pizza. But what do you do when you go to the cafe or when you go to this Domino? What do? You order the pizza and then you wait. Have you ever visited their kitchen? Have you ever asked them कि भाई कितना dough लेते हो आप for making one pizza? Have you asked them which kind of vegetable do you use? How do you cut the vegetables? Which kind of cheese do you use? Have you ever asked these questions to the person who is making pizza? No, never. What do you want is within 15 to 20 minutes, I should get my pizza and it should taste very good. This is abstraction. Abstraction means you concentrate only on essential features and all the details, background details. पीछे जो background में होता है, you are not bothered about it. You are not worried about it. So in OOPS also we will fulfill this feature that you will get the functionality, but you will not be able to see what happens behind the scene. This is abstraction, and that's why the name abstractions, meaning in real life also this. Okay, so when you want to use BlueJ, what will you do? You will just click the buttons. But then what happens when you compile, when you press the compile button, what happens? You will never come to know. Because you are getting abstraction. Please understand the real life examples because that will make your life very easy. One more example can be remote control. Suppose you have an AC at home and you want to switch on the AC. What do? You press the on button on the remote. But do you realize what happens after you press the on button? No, you don't realize. Okay, so these kind of things are involved in our OOPS concepts, which is very important. That's why the first concept was abstraction. The second concept is encapsulation. What is encapsulation? Encapsulation is when you bind the data and the functionality together in an entity called class. That is called encapsulation. See here they have given The wrapping of data and functions into a single unit is called data encapsulation. It enables data hiding and information hiding. Why do we need to hide the data? Let us take an example of student class. I have made student class and there is a marks data member in each class. All the students, they give exam, so they will get marks. So do you think that Manthan's mark should be visible to Vishakha or Hashvi or Aaron or any other student? Or Dhriti's mark should be visible to Tirtha or Arohi or any other student? Do you think so? No. So what we should follow is data hiding. Let me give you a very relevant example of bank account class. Your parents have bank account? Yes. Do you share the information with others regarding what is the balance amount in the account? Do you share the account number? Do your parents share? Even they don't share it with you. Yes. So this is called encapsulation, which gives you data hiding. Sometimes you don't want to show the data to the whole world. In student class, we might want to show the name of the student, but we don't want to show the marks of the students. So how do we hide the data? For hiding the data, we will mix or we will join or we will keep data and functions together in an entity called class. So that's why if I want to access the data, if I want to know the account balance, I should be the owner of that object. So I should have the accessibility of the function, then only I will understand कि मेरे account में कितना balance है. Others will never come to know. Here, data hiding is a method used in OOP to hide information within the code. And this is very, very, very important. Just imagine that your account balance is visible to everyone. Even your passwords are visible to everyone, then there is no safety of your program. Okay, so all these features you will understand very nicely when we will start writing the programs. Okay, now next is inheritance. This is a concept which is, very relevant to you. You will understand it very quickly because the meaning of inheritance is inherit something from your, parents. Yes, let me give you a real life example that most of you look like your parents. When you come for PTM, we quickly realize that this is, Tirtha's mother, or this is Diksha's mother. Why do we, do that? What happened? Someone.
Dharya. Dharya.
Dhairya, what happened?
Nothing, ma'am.
You are. What happened to Dhairya? Any problem?
No, no, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Okay, let me tell you that I expect you to handle your Zoom app very nicely. If I have not muted you, but you are not on mute and at your home Ramayana, Mahabharat or something is going on, it is common sense that you should know how to mute yourself. Okay, so you should mute yourself so that others will not get disturbed because of the noise that is going on at your place. Now you are not a baby, you are not in first standard that I'll explain you this, and you have learned this, you have used this app for so many days. Now I think Dhairya is here. I don't know what he was doing, but there was some noise, so I had to stop. Don't worry, we have less than 1 minute, but please go through the PDF that I have already sent you. I hope you have got the PDF. 2 PDFs you have got. One is for first 5 pages, and the next is for 6 to 12 pages. Yes or no? Raise hand.
Yes.
Yes. So read the PDF. You have the 3 things which you can connect with me. You can use the website, the channel, or my email ID if you have any problem. Okay, we have less than 1 minute, so I don't think that I should explain inheritance. We will see that next time. Here, if I send you some assignment, complete it in any notebook that you have with you. Not to worry that I